Hello, YouTube pipe community. OTC Piper. Finally getting a chance to sit down again in my workshop slash smoke lounge in the making and see what happens. Well, I just started the page, and as soon as I did, life just started to happen all around, and I've been really itching to do more videos. I wish I could have done more already, but that's just the way life is, I guess. It just kind of happens to you. So I've gotten off to kind of a turbulent start. I've not really gone in depth on a lot of things that I would like to have. Some blends I'd like to review, and as soon as I have some good off time. I just got off of a night shift, and I'm fixing to go crash for a little while and get ready to do it again, and it may be next week before I can get a chance to do that. My family is with some other family friends, and they went on a little camping vacation. Unfortunately, in my line of work, I can't just take off whenever everyone decides, hey, let's go do this or that. So I'm off in a couple of days, for a couple of days this week. I'm going to go out there to meet with them for a little while and be as much a part of that as I can. I'll try to get some video shot. It's a camping trip, so I'll have plenty of time to sit out and smoke my pipe and try to get some videos done while I'm there on site. It's going to be in Tyler, Texas. From what they say, it's a beautiful spot that they've chosen to camp, and I love camping. I love the outdoors, as I said in my intro video. So one of the things that I noticed I've been lax on is I've really been wanting to do some shout outs, and I've been lax on that, and I do apologize. As I mentioned before, my brother got his page started, and I thought I'd follow suit as well. That's Catholic Pipe Steader. Another one that I've had some dialogue with that I know through the community and through him was Meandering Piper, and I gotta say I like a lot of his videos. I can tell me and him are cut from the same chunk just about, and I really like. He's one of the ones that, like so many on here, that even if you're not really interested in the topic at hand, it's just good to listen to. You can set the video up while you're smoking your pipe, and you can enjoy mantle, as we say, from afar. So there's another shout out. Last night during some slow times, or when I've had some downtime, I'd check out a few videos. I'm still trying to get to know some of the other members of the community, and so I'm just kind of scrolling through, watching some videos. But I'm going to smoke a pipe as well. What I have today, I'll get into that before I get into the depth of some of the things I have on my list. This is some bulk that I have, the last little bit of it. In fact, I was trying to decide what I felt like smoking this morning, and I noticed I had just a little bit left of this Cornel and Diehl Bayou morning. Figured, well, it's kind of my evening, but it is the morning time. I really shouldn't be drinking coffee, but it just kind of goes with the morning, so that is what I shall have. This Cornel and Diehl Bayou morning is another Virginia Perique. Last one I reviewed was the Drexel Virginia Perique. This one, not quite as spicy as I remember the Drexel being. Again, if you're new to pipe smoking, with these Virginia Periques, you got to pace yourself on them. They can run hot. One thing I noticed about this one, when I first bought it, I wasn't totally sold on it. However, I've never really experienced a tobacco that I just hated. So this is one that I could have bought an ounce. I probably bought 2 ounces when I bought it. I could have bought a pound of it, and I would have been happy to have had it, even though at first, the first impression, it didn't seem spectacular to me. But that was a few months ago, and it's set in this mason jar, and I'm telling you, the time it spent here in my mason jar has really brought out more than I experienced at first glance. Because I stuck my nose down in it just for the jar note, and it's just come alive a lot more than I remember it being. And it's nothing. It's not an aromatic. It's not topped with anything. It's just the tobacco is coming alive a little bit. So I'm going to pack some in my pipe and enjoy some. One thing I like about the Virginia Periques, to me, they're a little bit more transparent. They pair well with a lot of different beverages, especially a good cup of Folgers. I don't think I've ever had anything that didn't pair well with a good cup of coffee. As I said in my intro video, I'm kind of a simple guy. I don't have I don't have any high maintenance taste or anything like that. I have some cobs, and mostly they're going to be the Italian Briars, because to me they do a great job. This one is a little bit more high end. This is a Nording mini-churchwarden. It's one of the lower ends of the Nording. If you're not familiar with Nording or just getting into this, it's a outstanding pipe maker. This one I think cost me about $80. Okay, it's a unfinished briar. It's got a good thick wall that I like for smoking my Virginias and Periques, and the longer stem to cool it down a little bit. It's been a good pipe. I was looking over some estate pipes there at Tobacco Cabana in Cedar Hill, and the employee that was there running it, he's actually a friend of mine from another smoke shop from Waxahachie that has unfortunately closed. We got to talking, and he was saying, well, in the price point he was in, he recommended go ahead and purchase the brand new Nording. And I'm glad that he spoke up about it, because I wasn't really looking at it. I was looking at some of the estate pipes that he's got, and he's got a lot of good estate pipes. This has just been a fantastic smoker. If you can see this, let's see if I can get it up here. I don't know if my lighting is really going to allow a lot of it to come through. Just basic Virginia Perique. It's fine. It's a little finer cut. Easy to pack in there. One thing I like about about that shop is they don't wet them down a whole lot. They don't pack, they don't jar them with a whole lot of moisture, and I like that, because if you don't particularly like it quite as moist as they have it, you got to wait some time for it to dry out to get it to where you like it. This is kind of dry. I don't know if you can hear it. It's kind of crinkling there. I like it. I like my tobaccos a little bit on the drier side. What I found is the environmental humidity a lot of times, by the time I get down to the good sweet spot, it's right about where I want it. So I don't tend to run them as wet. So I'm just gonna pack it in there, get a good tamp on it. About right. And then down there just a little bit tighter. Get a good wood match. See that's match and get my secondary light on it. There we go. Got it done with one. Very good smoke. You can certainly taste the Virginias, and now by their description, it's red and bright Virginias, about 25% per wheat, which is it's a pretty good amount of per wheat. Virginias come through and hit you first. The Perique is right on its heels. The pepperiness, it's just a great balance. The sweetness of the Virginias with the peppery of the Perique. It's like the Drexel that I had before. It's a very transparent smoke. It doesn't bombard you with a whole lot. What you see in it is pretty much what you get. I guess I would say I'm not sure exactly what all of the ratios are, but 75% Virginia, 25% Perique. Good on the retro hill. So I may come back and chime in. It just kind of opens up as I'm smoking it. But there's another shout out I wanted to do. I came across another member of the YouTube pipe community, and I subscribed to his channel. Found it very fascinating, some of the things that he had to say. This is going to be Eric, Blue Collar Pipe Smoker. And I will put a link to the video that I'm going to talk about. He did it showed on there as I watched it 6 days ago. He added a little historical conversation in there with the pipe tobacco that he was reviewing. And as a history buff myself, I could appreciate the historical content with a little pipe chat mixed in there. I think as pipers who are showing appreciation for the historic richness of the piping art, is we should all be, at least to a certain degree, inspired by historical. I mean, everybody is affected in some way or another by history. We all come from history. Everything that we appreciate and love about America has such a rich history behind it, and very interesting and intriguing historical persons. Whether it's Civil War era, the Revolution, the Western expansion, the prehistory time, all of that came together to make what we have what it is. And I definitely think that's worth giving a look to. He did a little piece on Ulysses S. Grant, and that's a page right out of the history that fascinates me a great deal. He posed a question on here after he did his discussion of Ulysses S. Grant. What historical pipe figure would you most like to smoke a pipe or a cigar with? And that just kind of blew my mind. I'm still chewing on that one. There's a lot of people I can put on the list, and he requested people leave something in the comments about it, perhaps VR. I tend to do so. I just really wanted to put some thought into it because of how intrigued I am by the question. And it doesn't have to be somebody that is known for smoking a pipe or cigar. As many know, Grant was a cigar smoker. He mentioned in there his cooperation with Mark Twain on writing his memoirs, who was known as a pipe smoker. Doesn't really have to be anybody known for that. But somebody in history that has got your interest, has influenced you in some way. I think that's worth pondering while we're got our pipes lit. why not think about the deep things? And this is a question I never really asked myself, uh, and I'm glad to be able to think about that now. I'll be thinking about it quite a bit. It'll be foremost on my mind until I come up with an answer, and I look forward to getting to post that video. Inspirational people is for me it's something that drives me. I just mentioned a lot of the historical uh, value that I have in some of the people. And as a musician, there are some as I said before, that I'm a musician, have been for some time, influenced by many great musicians, really. I'll say on a musical level, I was inspired at a very young age, kind of before. I'm a very old soul. Uh, Inspired at a very young age by the music of Paul Simon, and it's still my 9-year-old gets still requests bedtime songs, where I'll go and I'll bring my guitar and I will play some songs that she really has taken a liking to, and I'm glad to be able to impart some of that to her. It gives me great joy to hopefully expose her to some of the richness that has helped me through some hard times and helped me to celebrate some good times. I'll say, on a historical basis, I'm probably most fascinated with the prehistory time, and I know that there's a lot of tragic events that occurred as the prehistory collided with the historic, time, more modern times, with the American Indians and things like that. I'm also a self-reliant kind of person, not necessarily the kind that, not the doomsday counters or the date setters and things like that, but just being able to be more reliant on myself and not have to, you know, exist based on the charity of others or anything like that. One of the things, they came from a time when there was nothing. There was no stores, nowhere you can go buy the tools you needed. They had to make the tools that they needed. And for the longest time, I've been, as a hunter, I started out at a young age as my family taught me how to hunt, how to fish, how to get the most out of the outdoors. When I realized that rifle hunting became too easy, it just wasn't the challenge that I once enjoyed, I went to archery. And that's what really taught me how to be a hunter, because you had to get so much closer to your game, that you intend to harvest. I went to a compound bow, and eventually that became too easy. I say too easy. There's still some challenges there, but it got to where I just didn't have the excitement that I once did. So I went down to traditional archery, stick and string and quiver full of arrows. And as I did that, I realized that that was real hunting. That was not scattering feeder, putting up a feeder, learning the animals, learning their tendencies, and things like that, learning how to hunt the wind and things like that. I became more fascinated with that, and I've been practicing more of the primitive side of it. I hope to very soon be able to do a primitive hunt. For a couple of years I've been a flint napper, and these are just a couple of the things, some arrow points that I started to learn to make. Eventually I'd like to have these on and arrows, do a self bow, and go out there and totally be one with nature, to truly appreciate what it has to offer. I pretty much eat mostly a plant-based diet, but as a hunter, I will eat the meat that I harvest. I believe that that's a respectful thing to do. So, from an early age, I've been very much inspired by the life of the American Indian, what they had to go through, and surviving in sometimes very unhospitable environments. Get a relight real quick. Starting to go out on me a little as I'm talking here. Yeah, it's about right where I want it, right here. Very smooth blend. I'm gonna have to buy quite a bit more of that. And the blend, I had just a little bit left of the blend that I did. I did my last video, end of shift pipe. You know, I just wanted to get a video out, and that one is one that I really want to do another video on and go into more depth and detail about the blend, the Balkan Oriental. I've got to get with the tobacconist and make sure that was a Cornel and Diehl. I didn't see that one on their list. He just prints a label and puts it on there. Like he's got some that I just love. It's just Virginia is all it says on the label, and it turns out it's the McBaron Virginia #1. He told me he orders it in bulk and puts it out in the jars, and that one is a Virginia #1. So the label may not be exactly the name of the blend. I'm gonna have to get with him on that because I want to tell everybody the accurate name and the maker of these. I believe a lot of he gets a lot of Cornel and Diehl and Stokebees. So I'm gonna, before I do that, I'm going to make sure I get that information, and I'd like to do a video walkthrough of Tobacco Cabana. Anybody in the North Texas area or that may find themselves in the North Texas area should really check it out. There's just a lot that they have to offer. And I tell my brother all the time, we talk about it, their prices are a little bit higher than you could pay online. And I like to give them, some of my business to keep the local guys doing well. I'll sometimes pay a little bit more, but really not a lot more. I believe the tins that I typically buy for about $9.99 are about $12.99, so a couple dollars more, $3 more, and that doesn't bother me too much. They're great people, and like I say, I like to keep them going, give them a little something. And yeah, when I'll still do online orders. Yeah, there's no doubt that you save a whole bunch, but it's just not that much more of an increase to make me stay away from ordering a lot from them. A lot of times I look online for a bunch of specials, and there have been some great pipes. Mostly I've done business with pipesandcigars.com. There's a lot of specials, and I know there are on a lot of the other internet-based outlets to maximize on your spending. There's been a lot of great pipes that I've gotten as part of specials. Some of them are not expensive pipes, but there's one particular one. When I get my pipe collection out and kind of go over some of the stuff that I like to use, I'm going to mention it. It was probably not a very expensive pipe just to buy the pipe, but when I got it in, it was just such a great smoker. It felt good felt good in the mouth. Smoked very smoothly, and I will be upset if something ever happens to it. And it's one of those I haven't really found it by itself It just came as part of that deal, and you get a lot of those little diamonds in the rough, those little gems that you may not get otherwise. Kind of just a good surprise to have. So that's about all I have for now. I know it looks like it's going on 25 minutes. It doesn't seem like it's been that long. I enjoy getting to this point to where I can sit down, just let the camera roll. As I mentioned before, I'm not highly technological. I like doing these little one take deals where I just let the camera roll. I may pause for a while, think about what I'm going to say. I think that just it's more of a natural touch than something that's overly processed, edited, things like that. I'm not knocking anyone that does that. Not at all. I've even got some editing software I'm going to look at just to kind of clean things up a little bit. But as far as just the content, I like to just let it roll. It's as though we're having a conversation together. That's what I like about it. And there's a couple times when I just totally mess something up, and I'll stop it and start it again. Usually that's if I notice something early on. Now 26 minutes in, I'm not going to redo this, so if I mess something up, you're just going to get to see it. So that's kind of the way I think about it. But I want to put a link to that video. I highly recommend you think about that. I think as pipers, that kind of shapes how we look at life, how we look at where we've been, and where we intend to go. So, I encourage you to think about that, ponder that question. If you're not already subscribed to Blue Collar Pipe Smoker, I recommend you give them a look, give them a subscribe. I'm very impressed with the content that I see on that page. So I hope you check it out. I hope it works good for you. It certainly did for me. I'm going to take some time and hopefully in the line of work that I do, I hope I have some downtime. I look forward to a boring shift every time. Like when I got into this line of work, I was actually, I heard on a Blue Collar Pipe Smoker that he was a teacher. I assume it's history. He certainly speaks it well. I was very close to being a history teacher myself. I was in a history major on the track to get my secondary certification and onto a master's, and I just couldn't shake the calling for law enforcement. And I don't publicize a whole lot about it out of respect for my agency. I'm not going to refrain from speaking too many specifics about them. But it's just who I am. I never could shake that. And I can't imagine doing anything else right now. I love what I do. It's been a good experience. I'm late in life getting to that, but I spent so much time not following what my calling really was. Spent some time in the military. When I got out of the military, I was an engineer, technical engineer. For the most part, I did a stint as a unit armorer because I'm very proficient in firearms, and there was a need that I was able to fill for a while. And I enjoyed that time as well. When I got out, I decided that, I don't want my engineering training to go to waste. So I pursued, the engineering, which on the civilian side is still a whole, 6 years of school you'd have to go to, and I thought about, doing that. I wound up using my talents in the design field. Wound up getting into a lot of manufacturing design, product development, that kind of thing. And, I spent so many years being unhappy, going to work just for the paycheck that came at the end of the week. And I realized that wasn't enough. I never was fully satisfied in what I was doing, and I just had to take a step back and think, what do I really want to do? What do I want to trade my time for? And when it came down to it, I searched many different avenues. My wife is a teacher. I thought, it would be good to be go into teaching as well. I do like working with young people. In my ministry time, me and my wife are worship leaders at a church now. Before that, we were in the youth assistant youth ministers there, and I enjoy working with young people, and I knew that I would enjoy doing that, but there was just that insatiable calling to law enforcement, and I realized that I was following the wrong aspect of my military career. I was following what I did, not why I did it, and I think that's where I got hung up. I've always had the heart of a protector, the heart of a servant, and now I couldn't imagine doing anything else. Anyways, I digress a little bit, but I'm gonna go ahead and sign off here. It's been a joy making this video, and been a joy getting to know some of the other members in the piping community, and I look forward to more. So until we meet again, here's the piping.